7:00 p.m. I will call the meeting to order. There's an addition to the agenda. We're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance. We're going to add that on since we actually... I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Roll call.
Gonzalez?
Here.
Jack?
Here.
Hussein?
Here.
Pelletier here. Puzo? Here. Flores?
Here.
Jobst? Here.
All right, so very exciting. First thing we have is the swearing in of our new trustees. Yes. So I can have you guys come up one at a time. Or I'll kind of make this more official too. Stand up. Mohammed, why don't I have you come up first? So we are officially swearing you in. So I'm going to read, you're going to repeat after me.
Okay, sounds good.
I, Mohammed Azam Hussein,
I, Mohammed Azam Hussein,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the rules, regulations, and ordinances
the rules, regulations, and ordinances
of the Village of Morton Grove,
of the Village of Morton Grove,
and that I will faithfully discharge
that I will faithfully discharge
all the duties of the office
all the duties of the office
of Morton Grove Public Library Trustee
of Morton Grove Public Library Trustee
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you so
Welcome
much.
to the board. Want to go ahead and sign?
Oh, sure.
Make it official. I didn't ask if you were okay with the handshake. I just
No,
went
that's-
for it. Perfect.
Thank you.
And I will sign. Have them on. All right. Next one. So same thing. I will say the words. You were going to repeat after me. I, Mark Anthony Flores,
I, Mark Anthony Flores,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the rules, regulations, and ordinances
the rules, regulations, and ordinances
of the Village of Morton Grove,
of the Village of Morton Grove,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
all the duties of the office
all the duties of the office
of Morton Grove Public Library Trustee
of Morton Grove Public Library Trustee
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. Welcome. Go ahead. All right. We are official. Okay. So next up, I'll make a motion to approve the regular board meeting minutes from October 14th, 2021.
I'll second it.
Thank you. So that will be the regular board meeting minutes we review from last month, the next month. So we're just reviewing here. We make a motion, we second it first, then we kind of review. Any questions, comments, corrections?
So I have, I think, a correction under vote on executive session. Mohammed, you can confirm, do you spell your name A-M-U or M-O?
Oh, M.O. That's appreciated.
Yeah, I'll get that fixed.
I didn't even notice it when I reviewed.
Yeah. Thank you, Lima.
I caught it somewhere else and I printed it.
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
Okay, we'll get that.
Okay, so then the motion will be to approve the regular board meeting minutes as amended. So, nothing else, and we can,
All those in favor of approving the amended minutes from October 14th, 2021, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
okay. Next up, public comments, agenda items only. Has to be on the agenda, even though most likely we just kind of skip through it. No public, so we'll move on. President's report, just very warm welcome to Mark and Mohammed. We're very, very excited to have you both on the board.
Excited to be here.
Yeah, we're a full board. Oh, good. It's awesome.
Been a
So-
few months, so it's nice to be
It is.
100%.
It is. So welcome to both of you. Thank you. All right, so next we'll go up to committee reports. Finances first.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the financial statements for October 31st, 2021.
I'll second.
We'll start with the, do we have the trial, the general ledger on top? Does everybody have that one? Okay. Are any questions on that? Good. The income statement, any questions on that? Going really good here. Everything's good?
I didn't have any questions.
The check register. What? But I've already asked all my questions, so.
You're ready for
Any questions on the check? Or you think something's out of line or whatever? Or you want an explanation of why we're paying somebody so much? We'll try to explain it, or Pam will.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
I hope we will do more than try.
And I think as the months go on, guys, you'll be able to like kind of, recognize certain vendors that usually provide services and, like Cher Walter's usually on there for the yoga. There's certain people that you'll see over and over again, so. But definitely feel free to ask any questions if.
What did Chris Christmas do for $65? I'm just curious.
He runs our chess club for kids.
Nice.
I was gonna say, you should ask my kids, they love him.
Yeah, oh, really?
They think he's worth every penny.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I saw his name on the Zoom, I was just like, it's Christmas.
The prime is our investment, which I can't get used to this.
I know.
You don't like this.
I know.
With the
I always do double
graph
taps.
and everything, but that's okay.
Yeah.
This is what they sent me.
Yeah.
So.
We ready to vote on the financial reports? I think so. Messenger,
Yes.
Hussein,
Yes.
Pelletier, yes. Luzo,
Yes.
Flores,
Yes.
Jost, Gonzalez,
Yes.
Yeah. So financial will always do individual roll call vote. You want to have the individual ayes, nays, when it's something finance related, executive session related, more official, so those will
If there's
also.
ever a vote that the board hasn't reached consensus.
Yes.
We'll call for a voice vote, but usually it's always anything where we're spending people's money. We always talk
Spending
about
people's
voice
money,
vote.
yes.
And then things that are required by law,
Approving-
like going into executive session.
Yeah, approving a new policy, or something like that, so, yeah, thank you.
Emily, before you go on, I just
Yeah.
want to ask Pam, are we gonna still have finance meetings before the
That's
board
up to
meeting?
you. That is not required at all. That was
Okay.
something that the board chose to do. So you tell me what you want to do, what you feel most comfortable with.
Okay.
So I know.
I mean, I know I ask all my questions if
Yeah.
I have any, and you're there.
So Carlotta comes in
Suzanne.
every week and she signs the checks. So if she has a question for either Suzanne or myself, she usually asks them then. Prior to the pandemic, we
Or
had.
before I sign the check.
Right. Prior to the pandemic, we actually had really quick finance committee meetings before every board meeting, regular board meeting, but that's not required, Carlotta. So
Okay.
whatever,
I just
whatever the
wanted
board
to-
decides
yeah.
to do going
Because
forward.
we're
we
coming
can-
back to normal again, and I
Yeah, we
just
can
wanted to make sure.
accommodate that. So
Yeah.
you tell me what the board wants to do, and maybe that's something that you think about and we think about when we reassign committees and stuff
Yeah.
like that. That we
That's-
can
that's
decide what the
something we can-
finance committee wants to do.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's something we can assess and kind of think about too, because, so one of the things we'll also do, not tonight, we're not gonna throw too much at you, but one of the things we will do, so there's 3 committees, as you see under the committee reports, there's finance, facilities, and policy. There's also the executive committee, but that is for president, secretary, and treasurer. So we'll assign, well, I guess I technically will, assign you to committee. So, but we'll get to that another time. But yeah, but if that's something where there's 2 people on finance and we like that idea of meeting before.
It doesn't make any difference to me,
Yeah.
I just wanted to, because we're good, like I say, we're getting back to normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, if we,
I will say that traditionally, most finance committees do not meet monthly.
okay.
So they do
Okay.
either meet quarterly or, biannually, something like that.
Mhm.
So it just depends on what the board feels most comfortable doing.
Okay.
So.
Well,
Okay, facilities, well, again, one of the things that I would like to do, we might do this early 2022. I'd like to schedule an official kind of facility walkthrough for you guys as well too, so you can kind of see the behind the scenes as well. Especially with the youth service renovation, we did quite a bit with the staff spaces as well. Which was long overdue and very much needed. And we were very happy that we could provide an updated, fresh space for them too, because they deserve it. So that will, the most updated, the newest thing for facilities was the youth service renovation. But we will schedule a walkthrough too, so you can kind of get all the ins and outs and everything. Policy, we do have several to go under, but we will, to go through, but we will do that under new business. So next up is staff reports. Pam, is there anything you want to highlight or add?
I don't think so, unless anyone has questions about my report. Anything I can elaborate on?
Just the ribbon cutting ceremony, like any date?
I don't have a date for that yet. It kind of fell off my priority list, so I'm going to figure that out. So, as I said, I anticipate that will be more of a photo op for the board and for SMC and the architects and stuff. So hopefully, I know it's difficult around the holidays, so we could even schedule it after the holidays.
Yeah.
I've been talking to a couple of other directors who have undergone some type of renovation during the pandemic too, and they had put off their kind of ribbon cutting things for several months. So so we're kind of in the same boat as everyone else. So at this point, it probably won't be until after the holidays. I know that we've always tried to go away in the winter and
Yeah.
stuff. So I'll try to coordinate and make sure you'll be in town for that. But yeah, unless anyone has any questions about my report or the department reports. It's just, it was weird, kind of weird writing a report because it just felt like, oh, it's normal-ish again.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I was talking a lot about pandemic stuff and then the renovation kind of winding down, and so it's like, oh, there was nothing really exciting to talk about, just normal business, which is okay. I'm ready to be bored a little bit.
Right, yeah, a little return to normal too. I really loved Courtney's comment about that the staff were near tears watching kids run to the new programming room, and so, and Courtney and in particular, I mean, all of them have just been so invested in helping to, create that space. I'm sure it was a long time coming for them, so that's great. I'm glad they're finally able to enjoy it with the patrons, so.
And we had someone come in, a director of one of the library came in and picked up a piece of furniture that we were getting rid of, and Helga had taken her on a brief tour, and she was raving about the YS department. I told her, well, you didn't see it beforehand, even, so. I said, if you knew what it looked like before, it's even more of a, a change and everything, so, yeah. We've gotten nothing but positive comments about it from everyone. So.
Yeah. I've heard some really positive comments about the one book, One Village event. I think it went really well.
Yeah. Yeah, we got some good feedback, and it's unfortunate that it had to take place during pandemic times, but it gave us an opportunity to work on that hybrid programming model that worked really well, and so that's something that we will continue to do, just kind of indefinitely. It's a nice option to have, particularly if weather's bad and that kind of thing. So, yes, and next year, I know Melissa's talking about doing maybe not a one book, one village, under that title, but, more author visits and that sort of thing, so.
Yeah. How was that, I don't know, was this a webinar, or was this the Walk the Line? Did you attend that? Walk the Line, how trustees can lead their libraries without overstepping their authority.
Yes, I did attend that. That was at ILA.
Okay, that was at ILA, all right.
Yeah, it was, ILA was all virtual this year, so I like to attend some of the trustee stuff, so if there's anything that I feel like the trustees, that the trustees would find beneficial. I think that you guys are awesome and really understand the role of the trustee, and I think the program was always very interesting to hear, because it is interesting to hear about, other issues that other boards may run into, or things that you think are okay and maybe they're not, that sort of thing. But it was interesting, but I didn't feel like there was anything that the board wasn't already doing that we needed to worry about or anything. So, but it is, like I said, always interesting to hear viewpoints from other board members. People that sit on boards of other organizations and other libraries.
Yeah. Well, and that's how I think a lot of those things are. They're not necessarily stuff that you're necessarily going to go back and apply everything to, but maybe good to hear the perspective.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And you attended Master of the Property Tax Levy. I feel like you've already got that one. So,
I always feel like, there's some little tidbit I can take away, but I really do. I've been doing this for a long, long time now, and it's always good to get kind of verification that I'm approaching it in a responsible and reasonable manner and stuff like that. So, So,
good.
Again, always good to reiterate some of that knowledge, make sure that I don't get complacent about anything and, forget to do something major.
Those things they're never bad. It's never a bad thing to attend. So, Anyone have any other questions for Pam? A lot of great events in October. Okay, unfinished business, director evaluation, so we will discuss that under executive session. Pam and Suzanne will actually leave, and then we'll have like a little discussion, just us. And we'll catch you guys up to, it happened to, with the timing, you guys are on the board, brand new, and now we have a director evaluation. What I didn't want to do is give you guys an evaluation and have you guys fill it in after knowing Pam for a week or two. So, so you're going to listen to kind of our perspective. The timeline is that we will, November, we're going to review everything, discuss, and votes are traditionally then are officially made at the December board meeting. So, so sometimes we're flexible with, we're not flexible, but sometimes we play around with that timeline, but we actually are on time this year, so how about that? Okay, so we will go through that a little bit later. All right, so let's go through policies. And I'll let chairperson, or, policy chairperson, or, whomever, kind of take it away.
I'll do a quick update.
Yeah.
So the policy committee met with Pam last Friday, and we reviewed the 5 policies listed. 3 of them had been updated in February, so really just some minor changes to them. I think the internet access had the most changes. There's a paragraph that was kind of summarized and added to another one. But overall, I think Pam had gotten comments from the EEI committee about changing pronouns, and so we implemented those. And if everybody's had a chance to take a look, any questions?
So just so that the new board members are aware, what you've got in your packets are the policies with my notes of the changes, and then clean copy of the policy that incorporate those changes, so.
We started liking that, to have the comparing the two, like, okay, this is the old, this is the new. So we find that helpful, so that's why you have,
Right, so you can know exactly what was changed, and then what the refreshed version looks like.
I appreciate the inclusiveness of changing the pronouns. I think that it's a small little change,
Right.
but I think it is, it goes a long way. Yeah,
So I'll make a motion to approve the donations, internet access, public comment, social networking, and spending policies.
Does anybody have any questions about any of the policies? How they're used?
And typically, we review about every year and a half, so that things are constantly coming up and being refreshed as needed. And we already have our schedule that Pam developed for us for 2022, and the next meeting will be coming up on January 6th.
When you're over.
And I will encourage both of the new trustees to think about joining, at least one of you who could join the policy committee, because right now it's Tamara.
Yeah, it's a really great committee to join if you're new, because then you kind of get to dig in.
It's one of my favorites to assign
Yeah.
to newer trustees because it really kind of gives you, not to spoil the surprise, I mean, I mean, we'll see what happens, but I think it kind of just, it kind of gives you the background a little bit more, kind of gives you the back office look of things, and it
Yeah.
kind of just, so yeah, I mean, it just, it kind of helps.
It's good from an operations kind of point
It
of view.
is.
I've learned a lot,
Understand
yeah.
what is done and
I
why
was
it's
gonna raise my
done.
hand for that. so.
Yeah.
Emily's already listed.
I mean, I think that there are some policies that are just, some committees that serve newer trustees a little better and just getting their feet wet, and, so, because sometimes it's a lot, I mean, all the information, so, yeah. All right, so, sorry, getting back to policies. Any questions about any of the policies, any of the corrections, comments?
Okay, we'll vote on those. Hussein?
Aye.
Pelletier, yes. Kuzo?
Yes.
Flores?
Aye.
Jost?
Yes.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Masajek?
Yes.
Thank you.
Great, thank you, policy committee. Okay, next, Illinois Libraries present IGA. So everyone should have gotten, top of that should be the memorandum, right? Yeah, please, I'd love to hear, yeah,
So,
sorry.
So you all should have gotten a copy of the memorandum, which was actually written by one of the members of the steering committee of this Illinois Libraries Presents, which is a new venture that a number of libraries throughout the state of Illinois, particularly the northern half, are undertaking, that kind of developed out of the pandemic, where all of our programming went online and virtual, and because of that, what we've seen is that a lot of things like author visits and that sort of thing, we were able to take advantage of. Some of the pricing was cheaper, but also because things were virtual, a lot of those things were opened up to libraries that maybe had never had an opportunity to participate, or wouldn't normally have an opportunity to bring an author into their library, that kind of thing. So what this Illinois Libraries Presents group will do is open this membership of this group to all libraries that want to join in Illinois, and the cost to join is based upon your budget. So we are a $3.5 million budget, cost us $750 to join, but it will give us access to a number of author visits that we'll be able to partake in or take advantage of virtually that we wouldn't have. And so because we are creating this pool of monies that we can now then use to get bigger name authors and then open it up to more people, because people can watch on Zoom and that kind of thing. So that's where we're looking to join this group. We have already decided as a library, the staff thinks this is a great idea, because we are entering into an agreement with other libraries, other publicly funded organizations. We do have to sign an intergovernmental agreement, and that's what this agreement is for. But there's already been a couple of authors that we've been able to do this. The guy that wrote The Midnight Library, that was one of these types of things. There was just another big one that I think Chris Bohaley and another big name author that was, again, this sort of thing where a group of libraries got together and were able to do that. So we're just really excited that we'll be able to pool our resources and make this type of programming available to libraries that normally wouldn't have the financial wherewithal to do this, that they were smaller organizations. I mean, we even knew from us, our One Book, One Village, it was really a struggle to find an author that we could afford that would be, be a big draw and, all the different things. And, we were really committed to doing that. But, for a smaller library, or if we decide there's another funding priority for us that we're not going to put $5,000 to $10,000 towards an author, which can sometimes be cheap even, we wouldn't be able to do that kind of thing. But by participating in this, it will open more of that kind of thing up to our patrons and then to patrons all across the state. So,
Yeah.
This fee is a 6 month?
A year.
It's just 1 month? Okay.
It's once a year.
It's an annual, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just the pilot program is
For the pilot?
The pilot, so the fee is an annual fee.
Okay.
It just started,
So I got it. You're
Yeah.
doing it for 6 months.
Yeah, so the whole thing just started within the last couple of months.
Okay.
So, but the $750 for us is an annual fee. And then there may be some smaller fees associated with, if we have to purchase additional seats or something like that, but nothing, nothing close to this. So.
Thank you for that perspective, because reading through it initially, I was like, well, but our library's been doing such a good job.
That's what I was thinking too. Our virtual programming is so good. They just want to.
Do they need help from
No.
But having that explanation is really helpful. Then that makes sense.
Yeah, and
because-
it's specifically for those kinds of programs.
Uh-huh.
It's not like everyone's going to have access to everything we do, or we're not going to have access to everything that say like
Yes.
Northbrook has or whatever. It's specifically for those types of big name author or bigger name author programs that are cost prohibitive for many of the libraries throughout the state.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we've already discussed it. Technically, the motion should be open. That was kind of my fault. Well, we can continue discussion, but I'm going to go ahead and make a motion to approve the Illinois Libraries Present IGA. How about Illinois Libraries Present Intergovernmental Agreement? I feel like that sounds a little bit right. All right. And I'll just need a second. Okay, now we can continue discussion. So technically, anything, so that's why like even like for minutes, I'll make a motion right away, even if there's corrections, so technically the motion should be open and seconded before the whole discussion should happen. Well, Barbara used to
I know.
get on, get on, you know, this, Emily, you're talking about it again. I'm like, I'm sorry. So, yeah. Well, and the fact that the staff are already, you know, gung-ho, we know the staff know, we know that they know what they're doing. So they you know, believe that this is a good thing. Yeah, because those author visits really can.
I had no clue what they cost, so
Oh,
it
they're
was helpful for you to say that an
Yeah.
inexpensive one was like 10,000. I'm like, okay, that's a really
Like a
good
cheap
deal.
one could be 10,000.
Yeah, a cheap one. Yeah, the one we got was inexpensive, and that was
Right.
5,000.
Right.
Yeah, and that was, you know, because she was a local author, she wasn't, I think she wasn't a big, I mean, she's
Right.
popular, you know, and she was famous, but not like, you know, we couldn't get Scott Giroux for $5,000 or $10,000, and
Sure.
you're looking at, you know, literally thousands. I mean, that's how, you know, it's
how they
fine,
get
it's what
it.
their, it's
How
their
they do it,
business as
yeah.
well, but it's just really, it becomes really cost prohibitive for smaller organizations.
Who's in charge of scheduling these authors? Is
It would
all
be-
of you as a group?
Yeah, so
libraries?
there's a steering committee that kind of got this off the ground and stuff, and then will be a group that will be in charge of, I think it explains in one of the documents about,
Right,
you know, that there will be a group of people that will look at, you know, potential authors and do
Okay.
scheduling and that kind of thing, and then we can, as a library, we can decide to participate or not, depending on
Oh,
the schedule or the author or something like that, and then sometimes depending on if we do participate, if we have to pay a little bit extra for like additional seats or something like that, but there will be someone that will look at all the programming for the year and kind of try to schedule those things out.
And when you talk about scheduling, what would the frequency be?
I think it just depends. I don't know, so,
Depends on programming trying to coincide
Right.
with author availability.
yeah.
Didn't it say something about once a month in here?
It possibly could have, it's been a while since I read over the whole thing, but so some of it's going to be, you know, who they can get when, and that sort of thing, so.
Oh, following the pilot program on page 6 of 11.
Yeah.
To offer one program a month. Was Morton Grove asked to be part of the steering committee at all, or any involvement in it? It was just like, here's what we're doing in case you want in?
So I know Kate Hall from Northbrook fairly well. She did ask me to, so she started thinking about this. There was a group of libraries, larger libraries, that had gotten together to do a couple of virtual author visits. And out of that, they had come up with this idea, you know, they had started to think about something, some kind of cooperative where we could all, you know, join, you know, pool our funds to get bigger name authors. I spoke to Kate and she asked me to come, and all these meetings are virtual, to come and speak to that little group that they had started to see if there was any type of way that the Electronic Content Consortium that I'm the chair of, if there was any way to kind of, you know, marry together what our two groups were thinking of. And we decided kind of early on that that wasn't a good match, but so I mean, I did talk to the group early on about the direction I thought that they should go and kind of the model that I thought they should do based on what we were trying to do with the Illinois Libraries Presents. And so from that, you know, they took some of my ideas and that kind of thing, that we as a library were not asked to sit on the steering committee, which is totally fine. I mean, this represents libraries from all across northern Illinois, and yeah, I mean.
It's fine, I was just curious.
Yeah. So, I mean, so I was aware that they were trying to do this early on, because I had spoken to the group about kind of the model of how to do it, and whether or not the model that we were using for the Digital Library of Illinois, you know, /ECC, if that worked or not, so. Yeah. But, I mean, the thing is that because this group is also putting together, I mean, they've got their steering committee, but there'll be an events committee and a programming committee, and whatever the other 5 committees were, or committees, you know, there will be plenty of opportunity for any of the staff that wants to be involved, and we have opened that up to staff, the professional staff, to say, you know, if this is something that they were interested in, it would be a good way for them to, you know, both have some say in the types of authors that we may, or types of programming that we may get, but also good for for their resumes, right? I mean, the more that they can network with their colleagues across the northern half of the state, the better for them.
Yeah.
So staff has been invited to participate if they want, and they, there's they had to fill out an interest form or whatever, so.
How many libraries do you know are in this right now?
I don't know.
You don't?
I don't know off the top of my head. So I would imagine that there will be a lot when everything is said and done. Because they only came out with the actual intergovernmental agreement back in October, and, because they're trying to keep it, we've all learned a little bit that, we've made some I mean, that was the thing, right? I mean, the pandemic, we made a lot of informal partnerships with different organizations to other libraries, that kind of thing, and so they're trying to formalize this. So I do imagine that there will be quite a few libraries that do participate, because it is such a great mechanism to get in good programming, even if you are a library like Northbrook, for example, and have the $8 million budget or whatever. So I don't know the exact numbers. I can find out and let you know.
No, that's fine. I'm just wondering if it's,
I
I'd like
would-
to know, is it really?
I would
how
imagine it
does?
will be very popular.
Good,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If there are no more questions, I'd like to suggest we vote. Sure.
Okay, Pelletier, yes. Puzo? Yes. Flores?
Yes.
Jost? Yes. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mesa?
Yes.
Hussein?
Yes.
Thank you.
Excited. That's awesome. Okay, next is the SIGIT engagement letter, master services agreement. You'll be able to speak a lot more eloquently than I can about this.
Do you want to make a motion first?
Yes, I'll make thank you for keeping me on my toes. I'll make a motion to approve the SIGIT master services agreement.
I'll second it.
Thank you.
So what you have in front of you so Sikich is the firm for the new trustees who does our annual audit, but they also assist us monthly with some accounting. And so what you have in front of you are the two agreements for their accounting work, which they keep very separate from their auditing work as is required by audits. So these are based on contractual agreements that we have with them that span a 3-year period. But they do an annual kind of statement of work and an engagement letter. So that's what these are. Again, these are for work that they will be doing for us. We'll be starting our audit in December. We'll probably have the field work stuff, and then the monthly accounting for 2022.
Do you need separate motions to approve each one, or?
No, I think as long as you approve them, so that I actually sign the contracts, but I look to the board for their approval for you to sign them, but you can do them both
Yeah.
together.
I know you're happy with SIGIT and worked with them for some time.
I am very happy with SIGIT. That is something that we can discuss, over the next, when the 3-year contract for auditing SIGIT is up, whether or not we want to change. There's schools of thought that think that you should change your auditor every 3 years. There's others that say it's nice to have someone who has worked with you, and I will say from a purely selfish standpoint, I really enjoy working with SIGIT. We kind of have our system down. So
We've had SIGIT since I've been here.
we've had SIGIT
Okay.
for a while. So, I mean, the other thing that and SIGIT will sometimes, accounting or auditing firms will do this anyway, is that they'll have different people that will look at your books. So you won't necessarily get the same people from the organization looking at your books. And that's really what has happened with us. We've had different people that are kind of doing the on-the-ground work, a different person for the last couple of years. And then there's one person that's overseeing it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I feel very comfortable with that, but that's a decision the board can make once our contract expires, if they want to go ahead and renew that, or if they want me to go out for RFP and get someone else. But we're not there yet. These are just the annual agreements.
Okay. It's been motioned and seconded. If anyone has any other questions? If not, we can proceed to the vote.
Yes. Okay. Puzo?
Yes.
Flores?
Yes.
Eyes are crossing on these lines. Jost? Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mesa?
Yes.
Hussein?
Yes.
Pelletier, yes.
Next. I'm going to do it correctly this time. I'll make a motion to approve the Lauterbach and Amen Actuarial Services Agreement. That's a hard word.
Second.
Thank you.
So this is something that's similar. So a few years ago, well, and for a number of years, so the library is not its own taxing body. We are a part of the village. The village is actually our taxing body. So though the village has to levy any tax request that we send them, but we've always had separate audits done. The library has its own audit, the village has its own audit. For a long time, the library and the village both used Sikich as their auditor. A few years ago, the village went with a different actuarial firm. They chose a different firm to do their annual audit, and they went with this firm called Lauterbach and Amen. When Sikich did both the libraries and the village's audit, they were able to pull a number of reports, primarily having to do with outstanding liabilities related to pensions. They were able to pull those reports because they were preparing them already for the village, and so there was no additional charge to us for those reports. So they were able to then use those reports to complete our audit. When the village went with Lauterbach and Amen as their auditor, we had to contract with Lauterbach and Amen to get those actuarial reports related to the pension for our auditor, Sikich, in order for them to complete our annual audit. So that's what this agreement is with Lauterbach and Amen for the few actuarial reports primarily related to pensions and our liability with pensions. So again, this is just a standard agreement that we agreed to pay them for this service, which is not, I mean, the first couple of years it was kind of a surprise because it was a nice perk when we both used the same auditor, but because we don't, we now have to pay L&A for that. So the big increase in 2022, which we'll have to pay more of, is because there is a bigger report that is due. So there will be more work for Lauterbach that we'll have to do in 2022. So there is an increase there.
Okay, we can vote on that one. Flores?
Yes.
Jost?
Yes.
Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mesa?
Yes.
Hussein?
Yes.
Pelletier, yes. Puzo?
Yes. Okay, thank you. Next up, the agenda said 2021 regular board meeting dates, but it's 2022.
Yes.
That's fine. We were with you. We knew you. And all the dates on the sheet do say 2022, so.
Yeah, I had a few 2021s on the sheet, and I caught those.
No worries, no worries. So traditionally, thank you. All right, I'll make a motion to approve the 2022 regular board meeting dates.
I'll second.
Thank you. All right, so traditionally the meetings are held second Thursday at 7 p.m.
Voting on this is actually required by statute, so you will see this every year when we have
to actually vote on the regular meeting dates. Even though they haven't changed in a long time, it's been the second Thursday at 7 p.m., even through the pandemic, we met via Zoom and, made it work. We know that life can get busy if you ever cannot make a board meeting. Officially, we just contact, send an email, me and Pam ahead of time kind of thing. But And occasionally we will like we did cancel, what did we cancel, August this year?
Yeah.
So occasionally we will cancel a meeting if needed. So, and if there are any changes, if we end up do canceling a meeting, that'll be a vote too, so. Yeah.
Oh, okay, all those in favor of approving the 2022 regular board meeting date, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Next up, again, the agenda says 2021 holidays, we mean 2022. No worries. I'll make a motion to approve the 2022 holiday closings.
I'll second.
Thank you. So, I mean,
It's all relatively the same every year.
it's relatively the same. And, yeah, I don't think that, no big changes with that.
No.
Yeah.
The only time that there may be different is, I think like last year, was it, when the official holiday was
Oh.
the Monday?
Yeah.
And then, you know, we had to change that.
Yeah.
This year it's all formal.
Yeah, it's pretty standard.
Okay, all those in favor of approving the 2022 holiday closing, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
All right, and I know that this was something that was officially suggested by an audit a couple of years ago. And you just officially let us know when you do have a vacation coming up, you'll be out of the building for a while. We approved this?
You have to approve it.
We have to approve it.
Yes, as my bosses, you need to approve my time off.
I'll make a motion to approve
Second.
Director Pamela Loeffler's vacation from December 18th to December 25th.
Mark second.
Yes.
I think she should have a longer vacation.
All right.
And turn off your cell phone.
Well, it's hard to do.
Yeah.
Especially if you're out
Well,
of
you
the
have-
country, those international
Well,
calls are gonna be killer.
I will be going to St. Martin. We always go to St. Martin over Christmas. So if I have to check my work email while laying on the beach, I can do that.
Well, you have a very competent team of
I do,
department
absolutely,
managers. so
absolutely. And now that Suzanne is here and, knows the admin ropes pretty well, I feel, that much more comfortable about being away. So yes,
Well, enjoy.
I will. Looking forward to it.
Yes.
Do you need a roll call vote or voice vote?
You can vote for that.
Okay, all those in favor of approving Director Loeffler's vacation, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay. So next, we're going to discuss director evaluation. So I'm going to make a motion to go into executive session for the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body as allowed per 5 ILCS 122 C1. And it is 7:48.
Jost? Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mason?
Yes.
Hussein?
Yes.
Pelletier, yes. Puzo?
Yes.
Flores?
Yes.
All right, so it's 8:36. I will make a motion to go back into open session.
Second.
Thank you. We'll roll call back into open
Still
session.
gotta vote on this thing. Never mind.
Hussein? We're just roll calling back.
Here.
Pelletier, here. Puzo? Here. Flores?
Here.
Jost? Here. Gonzalez?
Here.
Mason?
Here. All right. So we're going to stick with our schedule, so we will vote at the December board meeting.
Fine.
Thank you for waiting. So, can I ask you, would you send Mark and Mohammed a copy of the progress towards your 2021 goals, just so they can look at that.
Yep.
That was something I should have brought a copy of, and I didn't, so, yeah, so that'd be great, thank you. Okay, so don't need to vote for tonight. Communications, well, we actually do have a couple, so this is cool, the Ezra Jack Keats Foundation. That's great, little mini grant.
Yeah, so specifically having to do with the STEM exams.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a nice recognition of all the work that Jessica put into that. Yeah, she's awesome.
And then a very nice, so this is someone who, I'll add Warren Public Library to the list of striking libraries around the world.
Did you see the picture on the back?
Yeah.
Oh, I did not.
Did you see that?
Oh, I totally ignored it.
So is this like her own little?
I'm not sure, I will say that she is a former employee.
Oh,
She
okay.
used to work for us, but, so she must have stopped in and seen the YS department and everything, so, I thought that was.
I mean, it looks like her handmade drawings, like,
It could be.
and, you know, this could be her own, you know,
It could
little
be.
record thing, but I like it nonetheless, so.
Absolutely.
I thought,
I have a communication I want to put in. It's
Yeah.
verbal. I was at the Amazon store this morning.
Oh.
Don't go, it's very crowded.
I was gonna say, I'm sure.
But it was a nice encounter. I was behind a woman and we were, I don't know how, 20 minutes in the line. We started talking and she said that she wanted to pay for the food like I just did. You know, we didn't want to use our apps because we weren't too sure. So we were paying for the food, our groceries, and she said that she had just read this book, something with Scam and Catch Me or something like that. And it was all about, she was just leery about using her phone.
Okay.
So she says, yes, I know, and I got this at the Morgan Grove Public Library. And I said, oh, that's very nice. And you know, I just love, and she just kept going on. I just love this library. It's wonderful. It's small, I love it. I go there all the time. And I said, well, thank you very much. I'm the trustee on the board. Oh my God, you know, and so I introduced myself to her. Her name is Margaret. So if Margaret ever comes in. So I thought I'll make sure you guys know. She says the staff is wonderful. She comes here and she's, you know, so I just wanted to let you know. It was a very nice encounter.
So my husband was at Amazon Fresh. Did you get a receipt? Did he use the QR code?
I didn't do that.
No. Good thing you did. They sent him a message saying, we still have not printed your receipt.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
They
So I
were
said
having
no.
issues.
I was like,
Oh, wow.
pay for it and you're out of there.
Oh, no.
It's just busy and, you know,
Well,
that's
today was
why.
the first day it was
Opening
open
day.
to the public, right?
Oh, second day?
Oh,
First,
I think
yeah,
second day, it was open yesterday.
Yeah, it was open
Yeah,
yesterday.
yeah,
There was
but it's
pictures.
crowded.
Really? Right.
Okay, fine, I didn't care, I just wanted to see what it was like.
Right,
But
Yeah.
I'll wait.
We talked a lot,
I'll wait
me
a
and
couple
Margaret.
days, yeah.
Well, that's,
Margaret and I.
and that's, you know, the unsolicited nice coming from.
Yeah, I thought it was very
Yeah.
nice, you know, and then she says that you guys do a terrific job and don't tear the library down and build another one. Okay, Margaret, I get it.
But you want to do that this year.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's always nice when those comments just kind of come. Yeah, that's very organic. I like it. Okay, I just want to make sure that this packet, the library days and dates to remember.
It's just something that I included in your packets that I thought would be of interest. It's more for kind of internal keeping track of everything that has to be done, but I thought you guys would find that of interest.
Yeah. Just want to make sure nothing that
Yeah,
you want to
no,
point
just
out.
more for informational.
Absolutely. Okay. All right, next public comments, non-agenda items. There is still no public here. I do want to make sure to highlight, so this, Karina puts together,
We were very early with getting the packets done on Tuesday, and Karina brought that like an hour after we were done. And so normally we try to include it.
That's amazing.
I just loved like the graphics of this, and it's just, well,
It is, do we use that for anything?
We used it for other publicity and that kind of thing, and so we only started doing the stat graphic like that probably within the last year, so I'm actually planning on pulling them all together and compiling like an annual report thing with them, so, yeah.
I
Do we
mean,
have-
I just love it, yeah.
I'm sorry?
No, infographics are a thing. I think
Yeah.
it's something that's also
Absolutely.
shareable with the community and could be a traffic driver. if
Yeah,
ever.
we've done, I think,
Doesn't Chad put them on the Facebook page sometimes?
Chad puts them on the Facebook
Oh,
page, I
okay.
think he puts them on Twitter. I know there is a similar graphic in in the newsletter that just came out that kind of, the past year, that kind of thing. So we're starting to do more of that. And it's been on my to-do list for a long time, is to redo kind of how I report the stats to the board as well. I mean, I keep track of a lot of statistics.
Oh, I'm sure.
And I really like spreadsheets, but I know not everyone does, and they're not very much fun to read. So, I'm still, like I said, it's always on my to-do list to try to do that, but it gets pushed down. But, now that things have calmed down a little bit with the post-renovation and marketing has kind of gotten their feet under themselves a little bit. So we'll try to change up the way that we're just reporting the statistics to you guys as well. And this is kind of that first step of doing that, so.
Then there's also an updated contact form for everyone on the board.
So I did want to let Mr. Hussein and Mr. Flores know that you will be getting official trustee email accounts. We do ask that you use that account for library business, just to keep it separate from your personal
Yeah.
account and for, if for any reason we were ever FOIA'd, that kind of thing. However, I'm having some problems getting, the accounts I believe have been created, but I've been trying to test them out and they're not working. So I will let you know. In the meantime, I will use your personal emails to communicate with you, but you will be getting official library emails and stuff. In the format that is listed on the contact sheet, so.
All right. So, I think that was everything. So I have 8:44. I will call the meeting adjourned.